Today, I'm going to go over the best options to replace the Recluse in Year 4, but which ones are they and how can you get them? We've also got some fun builds for all three classes to make the best option even better, and with Destiny 2's Season of Arrivals being extended till November with the delay of the new Beyond Light DLC, this has now opened up a huge space in the calendar, so what are you going to do with all of that time? All of these questions and more are going to be answered in this video. Yes, we've got god rolls, farming tips and builds all for you today. But before we do get into it, if you are new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and whilst you're there, give this video a rating too. As a subscriber, which is free, it'll let you know about all of these amazing videos, builds and guides as and when they drop. Like this one, which is my most recent and a fun one you won't want to miss. So go on, help a fellow guardian out and help fulfill his dream. Thank you very much, and without any further delay, let's get on with it. The Recluse. This weapon is arguably the epitome of god rolls since it was introduced during the season of the Drifter. It's been subject to much controversy, but you can't deny its enemy melting potential. But with it being sunset, it'll no longer be able to take a spot in your endgame loadout, as it won't be able to be infused beyond the current 1060 power cap. So with that, there's a number of weapons, particularly SMGs, which I've been looking at and have scrutinised closely as to which will become the Recluse 2.0. There's the Death Adder, which arguably was the original Recluse back in vanilla Destiny 2. This reissued SMG is currently farmable in the new Prophecy dungeon and is obviously the exact same archetype of the Recluse. But with a very limited perk pool and nothing that stands out damage wise, it only really looks like a poor man's version of it. There's also the Recluse SMG, another reissued vanilla weapon from the Warmind era. This one does have some top tier perk rolls, including Vorpal for increased boss damage, Surrounded for excellent mob clearing capabilities, and arguably an excellent PvP roll of tap the trigger and dynamic sway reduction. It's an aggressive frame too, so it handles slightly differently to the Recluse, but for me it doesn't quite hit that sweet spot that the Recluse does. Now there's one SMG that has sat in the shadows behind the Recluse, biding its time, waiting patiently for its time to shine in the spotlight. Tarrabah. This exotic 750 RPM SMG has everything you need for Recluse 2.0 and more in Year 4. Arguably it's what the Recluse should have been, but I can't help but think that this was introduced with the foresight that the Recluse wasn't going to last forever in the Destiny 2 sandbox. Now there's no better time to go get your very own Tarrabah than right now during the moments of triumph. The Crown of Sorrows raid is now farmable during this event, and that includes boss drop rewards and therefore the exotic Tarrabah. This exotic now also has a drop rate protection in place, in that it has an increasing chance to drop, increasing up to 50% within your first 20 clears. So with the new rewards being farmable, you can arguably get your 20 clears within a matter of hours. So now it's easier than ever to get your very own. I mean, I even got mine after my first ever Crown of Sorrows completion this past week, so there's no reason that you can't jump in with a boss checkpoint and get your very own too. But why is this going to be a must have and take the Recluse's crown in Year 4? Well, it's all thanks to its intrinsic exotic perk, Ravenous Beast. This weapon stores power when dealing or receiving damage. Unleash the beast when full. This is yet another vague exotic perk description from Bungie, but what this actually means is that once you've dealt or received enough damage, you'll get the Ravenous Beast icon in the tooltip. Now all you need to do is hold the reload button to unleash the beast. This will now give a huge weapon buff for 7 seconds, which includes increased damage output, increased rate of fire, as well as a handling, stability and range increase. It pretty much turns into the Recluse, but on all of the steroids. With Ravenous Beast procced in PvP, you'll melt anybody in just under 0.5 seconds, the quickest time to kill in the entire game. This is because it turns all shots into crit shots, whether you're landing head or body shots. And in PvE, you'll just shred ad after ad with near double damage output. Plus, thanks to its intrinsic trait Bottomless Appetite, causing continuous damage, yep, not just kills but continuous damage, it will extend the duration of Ravenous Beast. Now granted, this won't be forever and you'll still need to reload, but in the perfect scenario you can get it to last up to 20 seconds, which is a huge amount of time no matter where you are in Destiny 2. I know there's a lot of talk about replacing the Recluse for year 4 in your loadout, but I think Tarrabah is a great option and probably even the best one in my opinion. Given that the best DPS weapons at the moment are legendary swords, it doesn't even limit your endgame loadout in any way, and with it being solar affinity, it's also got your match game shields covered too. Obviously you'll want Ravenous Beast all of the time, but even in its basic mode it still does the job, plus every time you use it you're building towards Ravenous Beast, which in Crucible is about 1.5 kills, and in PvE it's a couple more given the nature of the content. It also has a mid-zoom scope, which can be jarring for closer engagements where I'd recommend hip firing the weapon. With its recoil pattern being near vertical, it's really easy to keep under control either way. The only real downside to this weapon is that if you stow it, all progress towards Ravenous Beast is cancelled, which maybe if Bungie decide to add a catalyst to this weapon, this could be one that fixes it. Now to finish this one off, we are going to look at some really simple but highly effective builds for all three classes using a few exotics. For hunters, you'll want to consider Dragon's Shadow. This is a top tier exotic and it is once again starting to get some traction. The crazy thing is, nothing has ever really changed about this exotic since vanilla Destiny 2, except people have forgotten about it in place of the Wormhusk and Stompies meta. But this exotic gives you some crazy neutral game weapon buffs. Wraith Metal Mail is the intrinsic perk whereby dodging reloads all weapons and increases both movement speed and weapon handling for a brief time. This brief time is 10 seconds, and the beauty of it is that it will buff your mobility stat, giving it a 50 stat bump, which as long as your base mobility stat is at 50, this means that upon dodging with Wraith Metal Mail, you'll get your dodge back in 9 seconds, which coincidentally is just in time for that buff to finish, so simply dodge again to keep stacking this buff infinitely. It's great for PvP and PvE, and it allows you to use the Gambler's Dodge ability, which I feel breaks the aim of your opponents better than Marksman Dodge does, and therefore helps in stickier situations. The handling buff is sweet too, making weapons easier to move with, aim down sight quicker, swap between and even reload quicker too, all within this short window. Plus, when used with Tarrabah, it negates some of its slower handling aspects which are intrinsic with aggressive frames SMGs, especially in its non-souped up pre-beast mode version. As for Titans and Warlocks, they too also have exotics which will add similar neutral game weapon buffs, with Peacekeepers and Ophidian aspect. Peacekeepers come with the Mecha Holster intrinsic perk, which improves your handling with SMGs and movement speed whilst an SMG is equipped. It will also reload SMGs while stored and give a near instant ready speed like quick draw times 1000. It really does feel identical to Dragon's Shadow but without the dodge. The movement buff for Titans will greatly help with strafe speed during engagements, and the handling buffs of quicker aiming down sights and reload are standard with this exotic, which is clearly geared towards making SMGs feel great no matter what. You won't ever see this exotic in play though due to other popular Titan exotics, but it's a great option to pair with Tarrabah. Public service announcement. If you are watching this video on the day it's released, Peacekeepers are actually on sale at Xur with a decent high stat roll. Go get 'em. Ophidian aspect, a long-time favourite of Warlocks but often forgotten about. Its intrinsic perk, Cobra Totemic, means weapons ready and reload faster and melee range is extended. The enhanced reload is active at all times, and the handling buff, although not as noticeable as the others mentioned above, adding quick draw within the exotic does improve the general handling to a degree. You can obviously pair this one too with any number of charge with light builds. High energy fire will stack with Ravenous Beast to give an even more insane time to kill, and even the valuable protective light will help keep you alive whilst you are in the trenches with this SMG slaying out. Make sure to use Swift Charge to become charged with light on rapid multi-kills with an SMG too. Honestly, I can see Tarrabah becoming a must-have weapon for year 4, but with its linked raid being sunset imminently, now is the time to go get into the Crown of Sorrows and go and get it. If you miss out, I'm not sure how you'll ever get it. It's likely it could become linked to a future quest or even through the new exotic ciphers, but at this stage it's just speculation, so don't leave it to fate to be lost in the dark corners of time. So there we go, another build in the bag. SMGs are in a really good spot and have been for a while, so if you enjoy them, go get a god roll, but if you want the best, go get Tarrabah. Please let me know in the comment section below which one you'll be expecting to take over from the Recluse in year 4. If you're new around here, then please hit subscribe. It's a free and easy way to support the channel and the content I make. Plus it'll help you find out about my latest content drops, just like my newest video. This one took a lot of time and effort to put together. It's an homage to what the Rift game mode would look like if it came to Destiny 2. It's a fun and light-hearted one, and I'd really appreciate it if you went over, gave it a look and a thumbs up. You guys have all been killing it here lately with the support on the channel, so it's kind of a thank you video too. So on that, and as always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.